That's right. It is D23 week. We are less than a week away from the opening of the Ultimate Disney Fan Event out at the Anaheim Convention Center. We're very, very excited about it. And this has kind of been a tradition for us for when these showcases have been coming up that we like to go in and do a little predicting. Sometimes it's very obvious predictions. Sometimes we like to just go a little crazy and do some wild predictions. And that's more of what we're going to do today. Yes, we'll talk about a few things that are pretty obvious that we know are going to come out of some of the major panels out at D23. But more importantly, we're going to give wild, crazy predictions that probably won't come true. But we kind of hope they do, right, Michelle?
I guess. I don't know if mine are all that wild.
Oh, really?
Well, might not have fit that bill, but I got predictions.
Well, I got predictions too. But before we get to those wild predictions, let's talk about a few of the things that we know will almost certainly be announced or discussed at D23, the Ultimate Disney Fan Event coming up here this week. By the way, for our I don't know if you had any wild predictions as far as entertainment. I think we were focusing mostly on experiences, the parks, the cruise line, etc. Right? But
I have one. I have a couple entertainment.
Okay, well, I don't have any entertainment, so Michelle's got a couple, so those will be the best ones anyway. So that's fine. But let's talk a little bit about what will be coming to the entertainment showcase when that debuts next week. So definitely some things that we are certainly going to hear about is from Disney Animation. We will probably see some more stuff from Hexed, the next Disney animated movie that's coming out. Maybe we'll see some stuff or at least discussion of Frozen 3, which is coming out the following year. Then that will probably come up at some point, if not during the entertainment showcase. For Pixar, I'm sure we'll hear some things about Gato, their next film that's coming out. Incredibles 3, maybe we know that's coming. Maybe we'll get a little information on that as well. The Bluey movie is coming next year. Maybe we'll hear something about that as well. Not technically a Disney movie, but released through Disney. We'll be possibly finding out more about that, which would make us happy because we love Bluey. For live action from Disney, I know we're going to hear about Percy Jackson the next season. That's going to be coming up as well. Lilo and Stitch 2, maybe get a little bit. They like to break out Stitch whenever they can for something crazy to go on. So that might happen. Tangled, the live action Tangled is being filmed right now. I don't know because they're filming it right now if any of the actors or producers or director will be there, but we may get like a satellite broadcast from them, kind of showcasing of this is what's coming up, right. Because we know they're filming that right now. Maybe Princess Diaries 3 as well, because that's going to be in the works too, possibly. I think this is definitely, and more and more as things progress throughout this year, and we see more and more of it happening at different things, like of course, Rock and Roller Coaster, the World Cup final halftime show, the new magnet we're going to talking about later in the show, and of course, so many other things. I think that we are definitely going to get an announcement of the pickup of at least a couple more episodes of the Muppet Show, whether it be a full limited series or whether it just be a couple more episodes. I think that's almost a certainty.
Yeah, I would agree with you on that.
For Lucasfilm, we're going to get a look at Ahsoka 2, season 2, I believe. I think that's coming up. Star Wars Starfighter, we'll get a peek at that. Marvel Vision Quest is coming into Disney Plus in like 2 months, a little over 2 months. So we'll probably get their first peek at that. That was not really showcased at Comic-Con last week. I don't think they focused mostly on the films there. They didn't focus on the television. I think we'll get some Vision Quest there, maybe some other announcements. I know they did this at Comic-Con, but it wouldn't surprise me if we also get a little bit of talk of Black Panther 3 and Ghost Rider, since they made those announcements at Comic-Con. Maybe get an X-Men film cast announcement. I think that might be coming as well. And we will absolutely 100% be hearing all about Avengers Doomsday and maybe the Avengers Endgame re-release as well.
Yeah.
So I have no question that those are going to be happening for sure, Michelle.
Right. Agreed. With all of those things that you said, that makes all sense.
So that will definitely be part of the entertainment showcase. And we're sure there'll be some other things. Maybe Michelle has some predictions of some things we might also find out, but there may be some other things that will drop on us that we're not expecting as much there. For experiences, and there's going to be several, and they kind of broke it down at the what was it? The call, the earnings call
Mm-hmm.
this week out at when they were talked about, by the way, a great earnings call for the Walt Disney Company
Yeah.
this week. But several of these things are definitely going to be talked about at the experiences panel. Walt Disney World, we're probably learning a lot more about Villains Land. Will we get a name for that Villains Land? I don't know, but we'll definitely be peeking more at that. Getting more of a look at Monstropolis, what that land will be about and what's going on there. The Tropical Americas area, Disney's Animal Kingdom Park, maybe a look more at the Indiana Jones and the Encanto attractions that are going to be there, as well as the spaces, maybe some dining spots that are there. Piston Peak, the new Cars themed area coming to Magic Kingdom. I'm sure we'll get more of a peek at that. Over at Disneyland Resort, obviously the Coco themed attraction that is coming there. The expansion of the Avengers campus, which is coming. I'm sure we'll get a better look at those attractions as well. And maybe we'll actually find out more about this Avatar experience. What's that going to be like when that debuts? And maybe some other things around the Disneyland Forward spaces, including maybe a new resort, some new other themed areas that are coming to some other spaces. And then many of the other parks around the globe where they have new things coming. Even though we got already a peek at Lakeshore Lodge, some more information there. We may get some more information on that resort as well. Possibly an opening date for that. Lion King themed area in Disneyland Paris, that's coming. I think we're going to get a better glimpse of that. Do we hear more about Disney Abu Dhabi? I was, question mark right now with everything that's going on in the Middle East of how fast they're going to move with that until things get settled down, which will they ever get settled down? But I don't know what we'll hear about that, but
I know
it is in the listing there. So maybe.
Yeah. And they made the announcement that they are still committed to that project.
Right. So we'll see what's going on with that. Possibly we did also receive some information on Disney Cruise Line this week that was a bit surprising. Not that all these ships were coming. We knew they were coming, but maybe the timeline for when they're coming. Obviously, the Disney Believe is getting set to debut at probably near the end of next year. We'll be receiving definitely some more information of that. They already talked about a live stream that they're doing from the Disney Wish to give that.
Yeah.
We may get some more information on that as well here, but they may be pushing that off until that point. But the surprising thing was the discussion that we're not getting any new ships in 2028. Seems like it's been a while since we haven't gotten a new ship.
Right.
But the fact that 2029, there's going to be 3 new ships in that calendar year that are going to be debuting. The new one more Wish class ship that's going to Tokyo. And then also one of the new ships, the new style ships. I wonder if we'll get a glimpse at what those ships are going to be like at this, or if they're going to push that off since that's not till 2029, if they push that off until like maybe Destination D23 next year or something.
I don't know. I think they'll probably give more because like even some of the things you were talking about with the entertainment, like Frozen 3, I mean, that was all announced 2 years ago at D23. So I think they do give you some of that advanced stuff and giving you a little bit more about it.
So we'll see. And then obviously the 13th ship, which is coming in 2030. Hard to believe, man, by 2030. Just fewer than 4 years from now, or maybe 4 years from now, by the time that ship actually hits the waters, we are going to have 13 Disney cruise ships. It's pretty crazy, including another one that's going to be Disney Tokyo. That's not technically Disney run, but will be a Disney cruise ship for sure. So very exciting stuff, and maybe some new itineraries. Maybe we'll learn about some new itineraries as well. So those are the pretty obvious things. I don't know if you can think of anything else that might be obvious that might come up out of this, Michelle.
No, I think that, especially since they already kind of laid a lot out in advance during the earnings call, I think we'll just get more in depth about most of that.
And I'm sure there's some things we forgot that you'll say, well, this is obvious. They're going to announce this that we forgot. But I'm sorry. Well, I guess it wasn't that obvious to us, but we'll get there. We'll be like, duh, of course we knew that was coming. But we're excited to hear all about what's coming from those obvious things. But that's all fun, and we know that's coming. But what about the wild predictions, things that are totally unexpected that Disney might announce during this time? I'm sure there'll be some things coming up that aren't so obvious that will be happening there that are going to rock our socks off when they announce them. But we want to get kind of a jump on that and do our own wild predictions that probably won't come true, but we kind of hope they do, Michelle, right?
I guess so. Yeah, I think I'm anxious to hear your list because it sounds like it's wild. I think I'm more just here's what I expect.
Okay. Yeah, there we go. My
So I think
predictions,
you're going to have the
some of
exciting
them are going to
list.
be like, okay, we've talked about this before. This is something that, yeah, maybe this is the year that they finally announce this is going to happen.
Mhm.
And some might be just completely off the wall and you never know, but we'll see. So let's go ahead. Let's start with you since Michelle always has the best predictions. Michelle, what is your first wild D23 prediction?
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm anxious to hear yours because yours sound like they're going to be pretty exciting, and mine are just kind of like, oh, this is what I expect. Which categories are how do you want to go by?
You can start however you want, and I'll feed off of how you want to start.
Um, all right. Well, let's see. I'll go with the more obvious one that's, I think in films is I think we're going to hear a lot more about the new Avatar film that's coming in 2029. So I
Agreed.
think
That was one of the obvious ones I probably left off.
yeah, so I think we'll be hearing title and, kind of a little bit about kind of the basis of the story for
Sure.
that. So I think that, is kind of an obvious one. I guess I don't know. How do you want to do one now?
Okay, I'll do one now.
Okay.
I'll go to the parks.
Okay.
I'll go to Epcot.
All right.
Now, let's have some fun because I think this is the year. This is it. We've been predicting it for a decade now.
I know what you're
as long
gonna
as we've been
say.
doing this show.
It's not going to happen, but I know what you're going to
We're getting a new land at World Showcase this year. We're getting it announced. And not only one, we're getting two. We're going to get two new lands, and it's going to be the obvious ones. Australia. We're going to get Australia finally announced. That's going to land somewhere between the Canada and the Canada and the United Kingdom pavilion. That space is going to be Australia, and it's going to be all focused on the outback, and we're going to have some shrimp on the Barbie, and we're going to have a good time there. And then the other is going to be Brazil. I'm finally convinced that they're going to do Brazil. We're finally getting all the continents covered here, except for Antarctica. Although I guess you can count some if you want to add South America and extend it into Antarctica. We're finally going to hit all the continents here of this world. And we're going to get Brazil. We're going to get Carnival. We're finally going to get a Brazilian steakhouse because, man, who doesn't want that? Who doesn't want Carnival and a Brazilian steakhouse while you're at World Showcase? Those are happening. That's my wild prediction. It's not coming true.
It's not.
Because it hasn't any time I've predicted it to this point, but that's my wild prediction.
Yep. And not that it's not a wonderful prediction. This sounds great, but yeah. And that's wild for sure.
It's wild. It's not so wild. Most people have been predicting it for a long time, including myself. But I hope it happens.
Yeah,
I really hope that those two happen because I think they would really be wonderful additions to the World Showcase area. And they do have the space to do it.
Right.
There's already spaces there allotted for where they could add a couple or more new lands.
Right.
I would love to see them do it.
So-
So where do you want to go next?
Well, I can do parks as well. And I'll go to the Villains Land. Like you said, I do think we're going to hear more about it. And what I predict that it's going to have are a lot of interactive elements. I think they're going to use a lot of the things that they learned with the Halcyon and the Star Wars hotel and how to have guests have like mini quests kind of thing. So I think that's going to happen. And I think you'll get to decide, like, do you want to go more villain forward or kind of thwart what the villains are doing and definitely have ways to cast spells. I mean, you look at, their competitors with Harry Potter and they have a lot of interactive things in some of those lands as well. And I think they're going to incorporate some of that.
I love that thought process. And I would be very excited to do that. Yeah. To go there and kind of choose your own adventure of how you want to approach Villains Land. Do you want to thwart them? Do you want to join them? I love that. Yes, very much the Galactic Star Cruiser, a little bit of Disney Destiny, the cruise ship thrown in with that as well. I like your thought process there. That makes sense. That makes sense to me. I don't know. That's wild. I think that's a great idea, whether it's wild or not. I think that's a great idea. And the Imagineers should be listening and changing their plans if they're not making those plans right now.
Right. Yeah. Well, like I said, I think, Disney is realizing there's competition out there and they really want to keep things fresh. And I don't think they want to have just a land that you walk through and have character greetings. I think they want people to know that they can have those experiences. So,
yeah, I agree. I agree. I love it.
Thanks.
I
Do you have
love it.
another park one?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and since we're talking about the villains a little bit, I'm going to go to Disney's Hollywood Studios and say that that wonderful villain show, which we really love, is going to be moving out once Villains Land goes. And that means they can fully embrace and expand because it is the Muppets world and we're just living in it. We're going to fully make that into a brand new Muppets themed area. I think that they've bought into it now. We're seeing them embrace the Muppets that much more, something that Disney has not done over the last few decades, but now they can feel the fandom. They're embracing it. They can see where they can progress with this. Right next to Rock and Roller Coaster starring the Muppets, they're going to take that theater over and give us Muppet Vision 2.0, a brand new edition of Muppet Vision, something not the exact same one that we had before, but something new, something brand new, something a little bit more modern, a modern version of that classic show with a lot of nods to the original classic show as well. And then just convert that whole space, that whole corner over there into a brand new Muppets themed area. I think that's getting announced. That's my wild prediction, whether it be now or soon after. They're going to make that be the case for sure.
And I don't think that's all that wild. I do think that they definitely have given us some hints that there's more coming with the Muppets, and that totally makes sense. And if they have Villains Land, they don't really need to keep that show, after that. So.
Yeah. And it'll bring the house down.
Yeah.
If they announce it. Believe me, everybody will stand up and applaud instantly and cheer Disney for deciding to do this. It makes sense. Do it, Disney, if you haven't already got plans for it.
Yeah. I mean, I think the one thing that will probably go along with that, because in order to have that, I do think they have to have things that sustain people, of new generations coming through of who the Muppets are and what makes them so fun and things like that. And so I do think we'll hear more about whether it's a new series coming out or movie or something. I do believe that's going to have to happen to keep people interested. Well, I mean,
they're releasing a brand new music album with Seth MacFarlane. We already know there's a panel based on that doing the Muppets. We already talked about it. I believe they're picking up for at least a few episodes of the Muppet Show, including on that. I think that the momentum is there. Let's go ahead and keep building on that. And they have some time because you can keep the Villains show there and enjoy it for a couple of years until the Villains area is completed. And then you can either move that show over there or just we don't need two villain spaces and just turn that over there. So you can have some time to completely build that momentum into that space. And I think people will be even that much more excited about it once that time progresses towards that. So,
exactly.
Well, what's next for you, Michelle?
So I guess staying in Hollywood Studios there with Metropolis, I think obviously we're going to hear updates about that. My prediction is that we're going to hear about another attraction, one that is more kid friendly. I don't know if they'll do something like that What If area kind of when you come out of the Journey to Imagination, you have some interactive things there, something like that, but with monster theming or whatever. Because again, it's all celebrating humans coming into the monster world. So maybe something that you can play around with that is monsters theme. But I think we're going to hear something more that is a kid-friendly attraction or experience in that area.
That would make sense. I mean, the theater that used to host Muppet Vision 3D, we know that they're going to have some sort of show there. Or we don't know exactly what it's going to be, but some sort of show there. I think we'll find out what that show is going to be when they talk about Monstropolis. But yeah, I like that. I love an interactive kids area. I think that's something all the Disney parks need spaces, one to get out of the heat or the rain or whatever, but also so the kids can kind of run around and get off some of that energy and have a good kid fun, as well as getting on these attractions and so forth.
I mean, we already know about the one attraction, and that is not going to be necessarily, it's not kid focused, obviously. It's a thrill ride. And yes, there'll be some kids that'll be excited to go on it, but I'm sure it's going to have height restrictions and things like that. So I think in that space, you need, in addition to a show, something else that the kids can do and not feel like it's, why am I here?
Completely.
Because they love the monsters too.
Completely makes sense. I agree with that. I love it. I would love that if they announced that for sure. for sure.
Right.
Speaking of that, so since there's a new show coming to Monstropolis, and whatever else is going to be added there, I love the laugh floor. I do. But I don't know if it necessarily needs to stay there when we have a new complete Monsters Inc.
Mm-hmm.
themed land coming up there. And we all want a new version of Tomorrowland, both at Walt Disney World at Magic Kingdom and also at Disneyland. And I think this is the time that they're finally going to announce that they're going to do something with this space to upgrade those spaces. And I think they're finally going to do it with everything going. We're racing towards the moon again. We have another modern space race. Let's go ahead and team up with NASA or whatever over there at Canaveral and go ahead and embrace that is our new world right now, that we are getting to the moon. We're building what they say we're going to build a station on the moon. How are we going to the moon? We're staying on the moon. Going to the moon, staying on the moon, possibly advancing to Mars. That's coming as well. That is what the new process is. And plus, we're here on the Space Coast. We see rockets launch virtually every other day here, and sometimes twice in a day. They happen all the time here. Let's embrace that. Let's move that into Tomorrowland and go back and do an updated version of Mission to the Moon or Mission to Mars. And show more ways to explore the space industry and what they're doing there, and kind of you can have some fun with it as well. Maybe you bring in Wally and Eve and do some sort of attraction based on that, because that's also some characters that are very beloved that are sadly lacking in many spaces around there. You can embrace all those and create that space. At Disneyland, they could do that there as well. But I wouldn't mind if they went full retro Tomorrowland at Disneyland and did old school Mission to the Moon, and just like did Disneyland what they thought tomorrow would be back in the late 50s, early 60s, and just kind of went full retro. Let's just do nostalgia Disneyland here.
Right.
And just have it kind of kitschy.
Right.
And cool and fun. And I think that would be a fun way to approach that area, which also significantly needs a refurb for sure.
Right. Yeah. I mean, well, first of all, you covered a lot there. Over at Walt Disney World in Tomorrowland, they have that area that was converted from the Mission to Moon, Mission to Mars, and then Stitch. So that area is it's just not even used.
Just sitting there.
It's just sitting
doing
there.
nothing.
That they can use. And I was thinking about the laugh floor too. I feel like I could argue either way of them moving that or getting rid of that. I mean, you have Batu, but you also still have Star Tours, and it doesn't conflict. So I'm not sure if they want to take the time or the money to necessarily get rid of that or move it, but they definitely still have space to create another attraction that is more something to do with space. And in terms of Disneyland, I know Disneyland Paris, they for a while were doing that, what did the future look like in the past, and using like a lot of Jules Verne's kind
You
of
still got that feel when you're there.
right. And and I think that kind of is a potential, or like you said, maybe just say what was Tomorrowland when it first kind of opened,
Yeah,
but,
I would be totally good either way on Disneyland. I think at Walt Disney World, though, it makes sense. I mean, that if you're going out to a Disney cruise, you can easily head over to the Kennedy Space Station, Space Center over there, and you can explore that. Even if you're not doing a Disney cruise, even if you just want to. It's about a 40-minute drive from Walt Disney World to go over and explore, but also embrace that and combine them into this wonderful, cool version of Tomorrowland that's also embracing the modern space race. I feel like that would be a great way to approach this. You can still keep Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger spin there, because of the fact that it is, it's space. Okay, fine.
Yeah.
And I do feel with the Monstropolis area that, I love the laugh floor, but they could change that and embrace something else within there to kind of reimagine it to approach that same thing. I'd rather have a fully themed area if they could, but rather than kind of a patchwork of this and that and the other thing. But, I just want to see them embrace the space race more than anything else.
I think part of their conflict or challenge is that you have an Epcot, you have that space
Mission
area.
space,
You
yeah.
have mission. Well, in that whole area
Right.
is
That's true.
dedicated to space. So that's something that they might have to figure out how would they.
Fine, then
But
then take the Wonders of Nature Pavilion
Mhm.
and change, finally do something with that
Yeah.
and make that into something that
True.
has to embrace it. I
True.
mean, I'd rather see something with Tomorrowland because I
Mhm.
think Tomorrowland is desperately needing it. But that's the Wonders of Nature Pavilion that's just sitting there doing nothing.
Right.
Make that into an
Exactly.
approach. And then refurb, do some changes to mission space that can make it more friendly for everybody
100%.
to enjoy.
Yeah.
And then embrace it there, however you want to do it. But I'd love
Oh,
to see
I agree.
them.
I agree.
For
So,
sure. So, all right, next for you, Michelle.
do you have any other parks things? Because I don't have more park things. I have
I'm done
other-
with the parks now.
Okay. So, my other thing I have is with Disney Cruise Line. And, we talked about, yes, we're going to hear about the Believe, but later after D23, I know they're going to have their special about that. That's good. But I agree with you. We're going to hear about the ship that's going to be sailing with Japan or owned by Japan, I guess. My prediction, and maybe this is my wild stuff, is that the ship is going to be named the Enchanted.
Which
And
ship? The one, the new
Japan one.
the Japan one.
Yeah, I think that will be the name is Enchanted, and
Disney Enchanted.
yes, and I think it's going to have, just like the Destiny, some a lot of availability of having character shows and things like that. Because there are stories where there's enchantment in there as well. And I think the musical dining room is going to go old school and be Pinocchio.
Oh, wow. Interesting. Interesting. I love it. Well, that's a wild prediction
That
for
is
sure.
wild.
Michelle saying that she wasn't going to have that wild a prediction. Those are wild predictions right there, and I love it. I love it very much. I'll go ahead and stick with Disney Cruise Line because
Okay.
I do have a couple more. These are my last couple of predictions that I have. I've mentioned already that I feel like there may be some new itineraries getting ready to be announced. And I think this is the time that they're finally going to approach South America with one of these ships, not to stay,
Right.
but maybe for a
season.
limited seasonal run that they're going to say, this is a time, maybe in the winter time, we don't need the ships all doing the Caribbean during that time. Whereas, when you get south of the equator, it's summer down there. Let's go ahead and have a ship that goes down, and whether it does fully around the Cape and does both sides, or whether it just stays on either the eastern side or the western side of South America, we're going to get some itineraries for South America. I believe that's coming. I really believe it. Whether it's coming now, it will be coming when we start getting some new ships.
Right.
I do believe that is going to be an addition, and one we will be particularly excited about, and
Yes.
probably be one of the first people to book
Right.
those, because we wanted to do South America for a long time, and doing it aboard
100%.
Disney Cruise would be phenomenal.
Agreed.
My more wild prediction than that is that we are getting a new private Disney destination announced, and not on the East Coast. It's going to be in the Mexican Riviera somewhere,
Oh.
somewhere down in Mexico, maybe just a little south of Ensenada, somewhere around there, another space that Disney can stop. Now that we have at least 2 ships regularly going down there for a
Right.
good portion of the year, you can build a place out down there, work with the Mexican government, find some good beach area, and build out a space similar to what they did with the Bahamas.
Right.
And find a good spot and build a place that those who are cruising on Disney from the West Coast can also get that private Disney destination feel as well.
Yeah, that would make sense actually, because I mean there are a lot of cruise ships, a lot of companies that go down to the Mexican Riviera, not just Disney. And I think they have to, really make it a little bit more enticing for people to want to do that on Disney, because you are going to pay more, and you do get more. But I think that would be like a real easy selling point to say, here's what separates us.
And here's why this also works is because not only, yes, for obviously if you're going down to the Mexican Riviera, but you can do shorter night cruises where you can just visit places like Catalina. When you stay in the United States, you need to stop at a foreign port. If you have that Disney destination just down there, just past, rather than stopping in Ensenada, which, okay, whatever with Ensenada,
Right.
you have a Disney destination there that you can go and check out, and that can be your foreign port stop for little 2-3 night sailings to Catalina and so forth, or whether you do a Pacific Coast cruise going up to San Francisco and back. We have to do that we have to stop in Ensenada on our West Coast cruise coming up here for the DVC member cruise because we need to stop at a foreign port. So we'll be stopping in Ensenada. Why not instead have a little Disney destination just a little bit south of that?
Yeah, agreed. That would totally make sense.
So yeah, and I may have heard some rumors of this though. My wild prediction may be with a little small rumor of knowledge.
Hints.
Whether it's actually true, I don't know. It's a rumor, but it's not like I made that up completely on my own. I don't know who did, but it's not like I haven't heard some possible stirrings that's something that might happen. So maybe we do get that announcement, and I would be thrilled.
Yeah,
thrilled with
that'd
that
be
announcement
cool
if it does come true.
Cool.
So anything else from you, Michelle?
I only have one more prediction. And this, I guess, would be a wild prediction, but I think we're going to hear that there's going to be a new Broadway show.
Ooh.
And I think it's going to be Encanto.
Oh, I love it. I'll be first in line for that. I love me and some Encanto.
Yeah.
Are we going to get that from Lynn? Lynn's going to be there. He's being inducted as a Disney legend.
Yep.
That would totally make sense. Love it. I love it. Lynn's already got another show going. So we have to, after he finishes working on The Warriors, then he can start working on that. He's also got a movie coming, I think, that he's working on.
I mean, the good thing is he already has the music, I mean, I know with the Broadway, they usually add something, and who knows, he may have had a song that they didn't incorporate into the film that he can utilize. They've done the performances at the Hollywood Bowl. So I think, yes, it would take a lot still to get it ready for Broadway, but I think the base is already formed there to have that happen.
I'm curious because I don't think that this is necessarily being announced because we don't know how much of the Disney believe they're going to talk about this since they're having that special live stream show afterwards. But we do know that, we don't know, but it's pretty much a certainty that Encanto is being included in the Disney Believe.
Right.
We've seen, actually, there have been casting announcements for Colombian singers and dancers to be added to that. So we know that it's coming somewhere. Where do you believe that's going to be? Is that going to be the dining room or is that going to be the stage show?
I think that's going to be their stage show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I believe too.
Yeah. Because I mean, they need to have something unique, and they've already done, some of the more prevalent films already that they've converted into that. So I think that would be that. And I think the dining room will be I
think the dining room is going to be Moana. I think because they did tease of Moana in their teaser thing for that. They teased Moana as part of it. We already have a Moana stage show, so they don't need another Moana stage show. That's aboard the Disney Treasure. So it makes sense. I was debating on what, do they have Encanto in that dining room? Makes sense with the music and the food, and it'd be fun and everything. It'd be great. But why not do Encanto stage show and also do Moana and have the wonderful Polynesian food there, and then the music that goes along with Moana, tell a little bit of that tale. I think that makes sense for there.
Or Cinderella.
We'll see. You just got to believe, right?
That's right. That's right.
So, we'd be curious if you can get them in before we start. What are your wild D23 predictions? And get them in, and we'll announce them in some way, shape, or form before the experiences panel or whatever. Maybe we'll talk about them on some of our shows that we're doing out there. We'd love to know if you got some wild predictions that you'd love to see come true. Probably won't, but we'd love to see come true. Hopefully you like these. This is just kind of fun. We'd love to see these come true. Don't necessarily believe they will, but we'd be excited to hear any one of these, if not a number of these, actually happen out of D23.
100%.
So that is our D23 wild predictions that probably won't happen, but we wish they will.